Shifting focus now, the newest challenge to America's car industry is coming from China. Chinese auto exports have jumped more than 50% over just the past 2 years, driving the country into a top spot among global vehicle exporters. Joining me live now for more on this is CEO and founder of Splend, Chris King. Chris, thanks so much for your time this Saturday. From a local point of view, what is Australia's most popular electric vehicle this year?
Morning, Sam. Thanks for having me. The most popular vehicle in the market at the moment is Teslas, closely followed by BYDs and Polestars.
Now, how is government and private business working together to drive up the uptake of electric vehicles here in Australia?
Well, there's been a seismic shift over the last 12 months with the new federal government that's come into power. What we've seen is an acceleration of tax incentives and grants at both a federal and a state level, and that's driving significant EV adoption, and things are really ramping up.
So the business of Australia's electric vehicles transition and how electric vehicle uptake, it's rapidly gaining momentum here in Australia.
Significant momentum. And look, I would characterise where Australia was 12, 18 months ago as one of the slowest from an EV uptake perspective. And in 12 months, it's sort of done a 360 and it's really accelerating. And it's coming from behind the pack, but it's rapidly catching up. And it's going to be really exciting a few years ahead as we sort of really accelerate and catch up to some other markets like the US and the UK.
Of course, with uptake increasing, we also need to look at the infrastructure. How is it faring alongside this rapid electric vehicle uptake?
It's a really interesting question. I'd say a year and a half ago, there was a lot of infrastructure already in place, but not a lot of electric vehicles. Now that the transition has started properly, those are starting to get utilised quite heavy. But what's really interesting is for most consumers that have access to a place to park the car overnight, a carport, a garage, etc., they can just plug it into the wall socket and that will suffice for them. But where the infrastructure becomes really challenging is for people that don't have a place to park their car overnight and plug it in just to a regular power point. So a lot of people in apartments and a lot of high usage applications such as rideshare drivers, when you're doing a lot more kilometres, you need the public infrastructure, you need the high voltage and high speed chargers, and there's a long way to go.
What are the electric vehicle landscape? How's it going to look here in Australia over the next 5 years, Chris?
So look, what I would say, our position is in 5 years' time, there should be at least 50% of cars, passenger cars, that are electric vehicles that are being purchased, which is a huge shift from now. I think it's sitting at about 10 or 15%, and a year ago it was sitting at 1%. So, by 5 years' time, we certainly would see at least 50% of new vehicles being purchased as electric vehicles. In our industry, in our sector, in rideshare, I would think that it'll be close to 90% plus of all rideshare vehicles will be electric within 5 years' time. So that's a significant upshift from now, which is, sitting in low single-digit percentage points.
Yeah, incredible insights. Thank you for your time this morning, Chris King, founder and CEO of Splend.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. Thanks for having me.